Delta Airlines just sent a shock through the market, when they cut their first quarter profit forecast for 2025 almost in half. If you dig in these deep dives, hit that like and subscribe button and helps us out a lot. This news, well, it sent their stock tumbling, down 14% in after-hours trading. And the reason? It looks like weakening demand for domestic travel is the culprit. Yet economic uncertainty seems to be making both consumers and businesses think twice about booking flights. And it's not just regular people feeling the pressure. Corporate travel is also being impacted, with companies holding back on bookings as they try to figure out where the economy's going. Ed Bastian, Delta's CEO, he actually pointed out a slowdown in corporate spending, especially in sectors like aerospace and defense, autos, media, entertainment, and even tech, which is usually doing pretty well. It's easy to see why people are a bit nervous. President Trump's tariffs and the possibility of more are creating a lot of uncertainty. You add that to rising prices everywhere and people talking about a possible recession. And, well, it makes sense that consumers are holding onto their money a little tighter. And to make things even more complicated, government travel, which is usually a solid source of income for airlines, is down too. This is because of attempts to control federal spending. So it's a bit of a gloomy picture for Delta, and it can be a sign of what's to come for other big airlines like American, Southwest, and United. We're expecting to hear similar updates from them pretty soon. Industry analysts are starting to sound the alarm bells, that's for sure. Analysts at Deutsche Bank are warning about a potential soft patch in the economy, which could really hurt revenue projections. And Seaport Research Partners, well, they're not waiting around to see what happens. They've already lowered their 2025 pre-tax profit estimates for a bunch of major airlines. We're talking Delta, United, American, and Southwest. But hey, it's not all bad news. Well, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York put out a report showing that American households aren't too optimistic about their economic futures. One of President Trump's main economic advisors is kind of brushing aside all the recession talk. He's saying there are plenty of reasons to be positive about the U.S. economy. So what does all this mean for you? Delta's changed forecasts suggest the economy might be changing direction. They're now predicting a profit of just 30 to 50 cents a share, which is a big drop from their original estimate of 70 cents to $1 back in January. And their expected revenue growth. That's taken a hit too, going from an anticipated 7% to 9% increase, down to a much smaller 3% to 4%. Bastian himself admitted that both leisure and business travelers are hitting the pause button on their travel plans. He doesn't think we're heading into a full-blown recession, but he acknowledges that economic uncertainty makes people, especially in an industry like air travel, well, they tighten their budgets. The stock market's reaction really says it all. Delta stock and other airline stocks too took a dive, which is a clear sign that investors are worried about a possible economic slowdown and what it could mean for the travel industry. Analysts at Jefferies, even though they were expecting Delta's earnings estimate to be lowered, were surprised by just how much they cut their projections. This shows how seriously the market is taking this apparent downturn. To give you some perspective, the S&P 500 Passenger Airlines Index has dropped by 22% in the last month, while the overall S&P 500 Index has only gone down 7.5%. Delta shares have been hit even harder, dropping a significant 24% in the last month. This really shows how vulnerable the company is to economic swings. Now, before we jump to conclusions, it's important to remember that economic forecasts aren't perfect predictors. The mixed signals we're seeing from different economic indicators and the different opinions from experts, it makes it hard to say for sure what's going to happen. Delta's profit forecast cut definitely raises some valid concerns, but let's not panic about a recession just yet. What this does show, though, is how interconnected our economy is. When one sector starts showing weakness, it can spread to other industries. As consumers and businesses become more careful with their spending, industries like travel and leisure, which depend a lot on discretionary income, are usually the first to feel the squeeze. The next few weeks will be really important for figuring out where the U.S. economy, especially the travel industry, is headed. The updates from other major airlines at the upcoming J.P. Morgan Industry Conference will give us more information about overall demand trends and a better sense of how healthy the sector is. It'll be interesting to see how these companies adapt to the changing economic environment and whether they'll come up with any strategies to lessen the impact of a potential slowdown. So while some experts are, holding on to some optimism about the U.S. economy's ability to bounce back, Delta's announcement is kind of like a wake-up call, right? We need to pay attention to this. If we understand what's driving this economic uncertainty and what the potential consequences might be, it can help all of us, like individuals and businesses, to make smarter choices and navigate these, shifting circumstances. What's happening with Delta is a perfect example of just how sensitive the airline industry is to economic ups and downs. Airlines really depend on people choosing to spend money on travel, which is often one of the first things to go when people start tightening their belts. And that vulnerability, you can see it reflected in how the stock market reacted to to Delta's news. Share prices for major airlines took a dip. In Delta's, well, theirs took a particularly big hit. But here's an interesting thing, right? Delta's still feeling pretty good about some parts of their business, like demand for premium travel, international travel, and things like their loyalty program revenue. Those are all holding steady. It seems like even though some people are reconsidering their travel plans because of the economy, those who have a little more money to spend, well, they're still ready to splurge on travel experiences. This trend could mean that we're seeing a growing gap in how people travel. Those with tighter budgets might stay home, while those who are more well-off continue to jet around the world. If this continues, it could have a big impact on the airline industry, pushing them to maybe focus more on luxury offerings and target their marketing towards wealthier customers. Another important point that Delta's situation highlights is how interconnected the global economy is. President Trump's tariffs and that threat of a trade war, well, they're not just causing uncertainty here in the US, they're having a ripple effect all over the world. This kind of uncertainty can hit different sectors really hard, shaking consumer confidence and ultimately impacting travel demand. For example, businesses might go off expanding overseas or cut back on international travel because they're worried about trade barriers and economic instability. This global interconnectedness shows just how important cooperation and stability are for economic growth, and for keeping consumers feeling confident. The upcoming presentations from the other major U.S. airlines at the J.P. Morgan Industry Conference, those will give us some more clues about the overall health of the industry and what the big players are thinking. Their predictions and what they have to say will offer a broader perspective on how this economic uncertainty might impact the travel sector. It'll be really interesting to pay attention to the language they use and what they emphasize, right? Are they cautiously optimistic, or are they leaning more towards pessimism? Are they focused on cutting costs, or are they talking about growth strategies? Even with all these challenges, the answers to those questions will be pretty telling. They'll give us a glimpse into what the industry expects for the coming months and how they plan to deal with these potentially rough waters. And don't forget, the airline industry is often seen as a barometer for the broader economy. How they're doing and the outlook provided by industry leaders, well, those can give us valuable insights into the economic health of the country, even the world. It's also important to remember that economic uncertainty is just part of the natural ups and downs of markets. And while economic slowdowns can definitely be worrisome, they also create opportunities for innovation and adaptation. The companies that can effectively shift their strategies and cater to changing consumer needs, those are the ones that are likely to come out of these challenges stronger and more resilient. So you keep an eye on how this situation develops, stay informed, and try to avoid making hasty decisions based on fear or speculation. Gather information from reliable sources, consider different viewpoints, and focus on making good decisions that align with your long-term goals. The economic landscape is always changing, and those who can adapt and stay flexible, well, they're the ones who are best positioned to weather any storm. If you're finding this deep dive helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis of current events and how they impact your life. We appreciate you joining us on this journey of knowledge and discovery. Delta's announcement, it really drives home the point that the global economy is all connected, and that economic uncertainty can have an impact way beyond just one industry. We've been talking about airlines, but these worries about tariffs, trade wars, and a potential slowdown, those are shared by businesses and people in a lot of different sectors. It's important to remember that economic cycles, they're just a normal part of how things work. You have periods of growth, and they have periods of, contraction, and then swings back again. Slowdowns can be a little unsettling, sure, but they also give businesses a chance to innovate, to adapt, and to come out stronger on the other side. The companies that can figure out those changing consumer trends and capitalize on them, the ones that can streamline their operations and invest in strategies for long-term growth, those are usually the ones that do well even during tough times. And for individuals, times of economic uncertainty can actually be a good time to step back and reassess things. It's a chance to look at your financial goals, maybe adjust your spending habits, and focus on building a solid financial foundation, diversifying your investments, learning new skills, and maybe even exploring different ways to make money. These can help you deal with economic downturns and set yourself up for success in the future. Remember that knowledge is power, right? Staying informed about what's happening in the economy, understanding the forces at play, and making informed decisions based on solid information, those things can help you navigate uncertain times with confidence. As we wrap up this deep dive into Delta's profit forecast cut and what it all means, we encourage you to keep learning about these topics and look for different perspectives. Talk to people, consult with financial experts, and stay curious about how the economic landscape is changing. The more you understand about the things that are shaping the world, the better prepared you'll be to make good decisions and reach your financial goals. We hope you found this deep dive informative and helpful. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more discussions like this, where we take a deep dive into the topics that matter. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.